and I do so cautiously because greatness can be easily diluted with overuse. 40 years ago this week, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. traveled to Memphis to support striking sanitation workers. The strike was a defining moment for the modern labor and civil rights movements. Officially, the workers were after rights and raises, but the signs they carried made clear that their struggle was for much more: dignity and respect.
Yes.
King spoke from the deep conviction that all persons are of sacred worth and that God's unconditional love rests upon all creation.
Amen.
King imagined the beloved community as a condition of mutual dignity and respect among all persons, regardless of the accidents of their birth. 40 years ago tonight, Dr. King delivered his famous "I've been to the mountaintop" speech to a packed room of strikers and supporters. May I be so bold as to quote from that speech. Now, we're going to march again. And we've got to march again in order to put the issue where it is supposed to be and force everybody to see that there are God's children here suffering, sometimes going hungry, going through dark and dreary nights, wondering how this thing is going to come out. That's the issue. And we've got to say to the nation, we know it's coming out. For when people get caught up with that which is right, and they're willing to sacrifice for it, there's no stopping point short of victory. We don't have to argue with anybody. We don't have to curse and go around acting bad with our words. We just need to go around and say, God sent us by here to say to you that you're not treating his children right.
That's right.
And we've come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment where God's children are concerned. Now, if you are not prepared to do that, we do have an agenda that we must follow.
Come on now.
The next day, he was assassinated. So now as you set off to march again, I ask you to remember the beloved community that King envisioned. Honor King's legacy. Make his sacrifice count. Remember that together with managers and patients and other caregivers and other workers, you deserve dignity and respect. This dialogue can only take place with the participation of the regents and managers and workers together with good intention to seek and establish fairness. It is a great challenge to go forward with your agenda, wearing the garments of dignity and respect, speaking with conviction but without violence, displaying unity without animosity. Put the issue where it's supposed to be. Get caught up with what is right.
That's right.
Make the first item on the agenda fair treatment. And follow your agenda with dignity and respect to victory. Amen.
Okay, so we got to hear Okay, Reverend Roberts.
So I think I heard the management and the regents called out today, stand with the workers and represent what's right. Am I right? Today is in fact tomorrow is in fact the anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. So I want to thank Reverend Mitchell for sharing those words from his speech and those words of encouragement. We have some symbols for you today. You're carrying flowers, and I'm going to invite Reverend Frank Wolf, who was a pastor, or a campus pastor here for many years, who has been with his heart with AFSCME workers for many years, to explain to you why we're carrying those flowers, why they're important, and some other symbols that are going to come up later after the march.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back at UCLA after being gone for 3 years. But you know, when I was here 4 years ago, we were fighting the same fight. And we're still fighting the same fight because they're not listening. And it's time to make them listen.
That's right.
We've known in the labor movement from the very beginning that it was about more than bread. Yes, it's about bread. It's about having enough to eat. But it's also about beauty It's about respect. It's about all of the things that are a part of a good life.
Right.
And yet, we're not fighting for all the things in a good life. We're still fighting for bread.
Yeah.
We want more than bread.
That's right.
We want respect. We want dignity. These flowers, the roses, well, they're actually carnations. But they're about respect, and they're about dignity. They're about hope. They're about beauty. They're about everything that it means to be human.
Yes.
And that's what these roses, these carnations are for today.
Yes.
And
Yes.
of course, we're still fighting for bread.
Yes.
We're still fighting for enough money to be able to raise and support our families in the way that they deserve. It's still about the basics and the basic needs that everybody has. And it's a shame. It's a shame that 40 years after Dr. King's sacrifice, we're still fighting. It's a shame that after 150 years of the labor movement, we're still fighting. And it's about time that management knew that we're not going to stop fighting until they start listening.
Yes.